In the corridors of monarchy, birth is destiny. One child is born an heir. The others, bound by the same blood, raised in the same halls, are something else. They are witnesses, supporters, sometimes shields, sometimes rivals. Often beloved, but just as often lost in the shadows of a system they cannot change. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. Today, in the House of Windsor, that ancient tension is re-emerging in modern form. And at the center of it stand two children, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, the second and third children of Prince William and Princess Catherine, full of life, intelligent, endearing, seen smiling on palace balconies, walking hand in hand in public appearances. But behind the smiles lies a question neither of them is old enough to ask. What happens when you are royal but not needed? As their older brother, Prince George, prepares to step into his future as heir, the child who will one day wear the crown, his siblings begin to drift toward a different kind of future, one not defined by coronation, but by proximity, by comparison, and increasingly by uncertainty. According to royal biographer Robert Hardman, the Prince and Princess of Wales are very concerned, not just about the optics of raising three children in a system that inherently divides them, but about the emotional weight of that division. Because the monarchy, for all its grandeur, is a hierarchy, one throne, one heir, and everyone else, the so-called spares, are left to find purpose in its shadow. It is a story as old as royalty itself. History remembers many of them. Princess Margaret, the sparkling and tormented sister of Queen Elizabeth II, whose brilliance was often dimmed by duty. Prince Harry, who once described himself as the spare in his brother's heirloom narrative, a label that would later become the title of a best-selling, deeply personal memoir. Others have drifted farther from the public's eye, lost in the machinery of tradition and silence. But William and Catherine, sources suggest, are determined to chart a different path. In the coming weeks, the Wales family will relocate from Adelaide Cottage to Forest Lodge, a quieter, more permanent residence within Windsor Great Park. On its surface, the move is practical: privacy, space, proximity to schools. But beneath the surface, it speaks to something deeper, a desire to raise their children not just with protection, but with clarity, with agency, because they know what this institution can do. They have seen the cost of roles too narrowly defined and of lives lived in the rigid frame of royal duty without royal purpose. For Prince George, the future is structured. Heir to the throne, every step calculated, every appearance preparing him for a destiny he did not choose but cannot refuse. His path is not easy, but it is known. Charlotte and Louis are different. Their futures are unwritten. Their titles do not come with job descriptions. And in a family where relevance is often tied to duty, and duty is often tied to lineage, that space between visibility and necessity can become a void. According to Robert Hardman, the concern is not just logistical, it's emotional. How do you raise two children in a hereditary monarchy without making them feel less? There is no easy answer, because the system itself was not designed for equality. It was designed for continuity, for survival. And yet, William and Catherine, now widely seen as the modernizing force within the royal family, appear unwilling to let their younger children become casualties of tradition. Reports suggest they are exploring new models, that Charlotte and Louis may not be expected to become full-time working royals, that they may be encouraged, perhaps even guided, toward lives outside the institution, lives in which they can shape their own legacies, free from the burden of representing something they will never lead. Former royal butler Grant Harold echoed this sentiment, saying he wouldn't be surprised if William and Catherine support their younger children in pursuing non-royal careers. In his words, the days of royals having to be royals and do what other royals do may be gone. But that shift is not simple, because with choice comes visibility, and with visibility comes comparison. The British public and the global press are unlikely to stop watching Charlotte and Louis. They are too photogenic, too beloved, too tied to the next generation of monarchy. And yet, the same eyes that once adored Harry and Margaret, and countless others, can quickly become judgmental, even cruel, when those spares do not conform to their expected roles. So how do you raise children in the public eye, with royal blood but no royal future, without exposing them to that same pain? According to biographer Christopher Anderson, William and Catherine are walking that line with care. He notes that they lavish equal attention to all three of their children, that they nurture their distinct personalities while still grounding them in shared family values. It is, in his words, a deliberate effort to shield Charlotte and Louis from the emotional isolation that has plagued royal spares for generations. And in that effort, something new is emerging, a quieter form of monarchy, one less obsessed with hierarchy and more focused on humanity, one where titles may still matter, but only as much as the individuals who bear them allow. We have already seen hints of this evolution. Charlotte, bold and poised, often mirrors her mother's grace in public. Louis, energetic and spirited, has captured the public's affection with his unfiltered expressions and joyful defiance during formal occasions. They are not accessories to their brother's legacy.
They are people, children, with personalities too vivid to be reduced to their position in a birth order. And their parents seem determined to protect that. It is a subtle rebellion against the system they were born into, not one of protest, but of principle, a reimagining of what it means to be royal in the 21st century, not through policy, but through parenting. But even as the Wales family quietly reshapes the future, the past remains close, because monarchy is not just about family. It is about spectacle, legacy, public perception. And while William and Catherine may wish to give their children freedom, they cannot fully escape the expectations that come with their surname. As George moves into secondary school, as he begins his formal induction into royal life, Charlotte and Louis will inevitably feel that shift, the distance, the attention, the gravity of being not George. And in that space, the risk grows, not of scandal, but of sadness, of growing up adored, but undefined. The move to Forest Lodge may help. It is private, secure, a place to grow without the weight of constant surveillance. But geography can only do so much. Ultimately, the question remains, can you raise two spares in a system built for one heir and still protect their joy, their agency, their identity? William and Catherine are trying, and in their effort, lies the most radical act of their royal careers. Not reforming the monarchy through declarations, but through bedtime stories, school runs, equal hugs, words of encouragement whispered behind closed doors, and the willingness to let their children dream of futures that have nothing to do with crowns. There is no blueprint for this, but perhaps that's the point. Perhaps the next evolution of the British monarchy will not come through legislation or abdication, but through parenting, through the refusal to repeat old mistakes, and through the courage to raise children who know their worth, not because of their titles, but in spite of them. So we ask, in a family defined by inheritance, what does it mean to raise a child with freedom? And can a monarchy that depends on hierarchy ever truly embrace equality? Charlotte and Louis will grow, the world will watch, and history, as always, will judge. But maybe, just maybe, this time it will be kinder. Not because the system has changed, but because two parents refused to let it stay the same.